6 games and a quadruple will be in the bag. 6 wins from Liverpool and a quadruple.
It's not quite that, but
6 wins and it's there.
6 wins and a loss for City is... Well, 2 losses for City.
6 wins for you is all it takes. Oh, and a loss for City.
2 losses for City.
Yes.
Or maybe a draw and a loss. Yeah.
But you are 6 games away.
Liverpool are in the Champions League final. That's all you need to know. Good night.
Liverpool are in the Champions League final. Liverpool are going to Gay Paris. They made hard work of it tonight against Villarreal.
Or did they? Did Liverpool even turn up in the first half? At which point were they even working?
No, I mean they didn't turn up. They were caught unaware. I think Villarreal deserve a lot of credit, but ultimately the class told, didn't it? Jurgen Klopp got it so right. He made some substitutions. Luis Diaz is amazing, and it changed the game. And Liverpool didn't really look back after a shoddy first 45, where the performance that they put in at Anfield was actually eradicated. You know, you were level pegging,
0-0,
level pegging away from home with the momentum with the other team. It does take a lot of character. Liverpool deserve a lot of praise, but Villarreal, I thought, were average.
What, in the first half or second?
No, overall, I think that they were average. I just don't think they were very good.
Over the 2 legs?
Yeah, overall, they had a good half, but ultimately, the fact that it was the likes of Foyth and Capoue and Aurier, they're just not good enough.
It's also, I think you begin to see the degrees to which the very top tier of Champions League teams can just turn it on sometimes. Yeah. That's not every team in the Champions League. This shows, I think, the level of City, Liverpool, Real Madrid. These are the guys, and there's a reason they're going in, year out. It's because the mentality of the sides is, even if we are losing, even if we're in a bad position, we can come back. I think Villarreal always needed that thing where they needed something to defend and be ahead. So when they were chasing it, they were like, okay, now we've got that 2-2, that's something to defend. Keep them nervous. So the second that Liverpool scored and the narrative changed, the stadium would have been a bit deflated. Everything would have changed for Liverpool.
I think it's credit to Liverpool that you can say this, but it was a terrible 45. They were in the ascendancy. You were 2-0 down. The score was level in the tie, and there were only a quarter. There was a quarter of the tie left, and it was level.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any real panic amongst the Liverpool fan base. I don't think Liverpool players were particularly nervous. They made their changes. They made the substitutions. Tactical tweaks from Jurgen Klopp were intelligent, and ultimately normal service was resumed.
And I think when you go in at half-time, you go, we're only going to make 1 change. It's actually in the front line when we conceded 2.
Changes the whole dynamic of the team, that change, doesn't it?
But what I mean by that is there is no lack of faith in that back line. He goes, you guys are still capable. But what I'm going to do is change the emphasis where the pressure is.
Yeah.
And once you stretch the game out, once you start to take them a little bit wider and isolate them, and you don't give them that unity that they need. They wanted 2 banks of 5, essentially. Once you have them running at that back line, that's what you wanted. Isolate players, demoralise them. And that's what Luis Diaz was doing. We saw him go out there and do overhead kicks. We saw him at least attempt them.
Score, obviously.
He sort of cocked the header and then bang.
But it was such a good goal from him because the timing, look, the finish was standard.
Yeah.
But the timing of the run was elite. He's run from deep, where he's marked in central midfield. He's run from deep. He's run past 3 players and found himself with only the keeper to beat on the 6-yard box. Yeah. Like, it's very good play, but it's shoddy defending from Villarreal.
But similar to Coquelin. I mean, Coquelin got above Trent.
Above Alexander-Arnold, man.
I also think in that first half, there was an element of, you underestimated us here. And then I imagine there was a bit of an adrenaline dump at half-time for this Villarreal side. And Liverpool went, come on here, lads. Turn this on now. Yeah. We're making this Champions League final. And you could see there was a huge element of relief. And to some extent, it's not soured getting into the Champions League final. But you can see there was an element of embarrassment that they lost any of these halves.
Yeah, to a degree. But Liverpool have won a semi-final in the European Cup at home and away. You've won both legs. That is dominating.
3 out of almost half of Klopp's Champions League runs with Liverpool
have
been
resulted in a final appearance. Yeah, what was it?
There was the Europa League as well.
So the final in 2019...
2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And we went in 2019 and then 2022. And obviously we've also been in the Europa League final with Klopp as well. So that's the one season we weren't in the Champions League.
Do you see why? You know, when we talk about Liverpool in Europe, and I talk about them in a very different way to how I talk about Man City in Europe. Do you see why? Because history means something. And when you look at who Liverpool are in a European context over the decades, and then you look at what Jurgen Klopp has done, it's because it's who Liverpool are. It's in their DNA.
Absolutely.
It's so relevant.
But you can write new DNA essentially, but it takes a lot more effort.
Yeah.
And this is also I do think that Liverpool's reputation and the hard work that Liverpool have put in throughout the season has preceded them here.
Yeah.
And we've seen that when Villarreal saw, Liverpool are on the comeback here, they went, I know what happens here. I've heard this song
I know
before.
this story.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it before.
I've heard this song, I've seen this movie, I've read
They
this
start
book.
thinking about what happened with Barcelona, and they start thinking about those Chelsea games, and they start thinking about loads and countless other occasions where Liverpool have turned up in Europe and they know exactly what happens. You're totally right.
Sorry, you're going to...
No, I was going to ask, because as brilliant as Liverpool were, and as much as we can talk about the history and the DNA, there was a helping hand from a Villarreal player.
Well, not only that,
goalkeeper,
obviously...
The Fabinho goal, straight through him, which opened the door for the comeback.
Diaz, straight through the legs. And the final one, even then, Mane goes around the goalkeeper.
Yeah, what's he doing on the halfway line?
Especially as, not only that, but the defender was right next to him.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Like, he's had a mare, hasn't he?
Yeah, there was another time where he came out and I thought, you know what, you've done all right there. But even then, he's not at any point covered himself in any glory. We do have to remember, though, there was that incident, which people will be a bit annoyed we didn't mention, with Alisson, where he went to the feet of whoever the
Lo
striker was.
Celso, wasn't it? Yeah,
right.
for the potential penalty that wasn't given.
I think part of the reason that it wasn't given was Lo Celso braced for impact.
Yeah.
And if he'd have continued and almost done that thing, I think he gets a penalty, but he doesn't.
I think his first touch, I think he was more interested in actually looking for the penalty than taking the ball around the keeper.
He knows where the goalkeeper's going. He could do a little dink because Alisson is also on his side.
If he gets the ball away from the goalie, it's a penalty. If he gets the ball away from the goalie, but he knocks the ball into the goalie, which effectively means that it's a decent save and a decent bit of keeping.
Exactly.
But Liverpool are now in the final, and this team, this winner's mentality, it's going to take some real stopping.
I think it's
huge final tomorrow. It's huge semi tomorrow.
You know what? Huge semi. Obviously against Man City. Can I just finish on this Liverpool thought, at least about the Liverpool bit? It's embarrassing halves like that mean that Liverpool should learn their lesson from that and go, no more halves like that this season.
Yeah,
we've got 12 halves of football left.
Yeah. Don't
let another one like that happen,
yeah.
Right? Because if we go 2-0, we can't be digging it out in every game. We need to be conserving energy. That's the only thing I'd say Liverpool will be disappointed about tonight. Is it's a good reminder you're still fallible. But what you don't want to have to do is put more effort.
Yeah, in a dream scenario, you go 2-0 up, and then you keep Henderson fresh, you keep Diaz fresh. Rather than having to, rotate.
In many ways, though, freshness, like being tired, doesn't come from 20 minutes of football if you're a top-end footballer. You don't want to have to play Henderson at all, I get your point. But the way that he brought those players on is a lot more about freshness.
Are you feeling, mate, 6 games and a quadruple is possible? I can't believe, because a quadruple is impossible.
But it isn't. Most people's mind. Yeah. I mean, this is the longest ever that a quadruple's been on for any team ever in English football.
I can't believe it. Any preferences? Real Madrid or Man City?
I mean,
in Paris.
My personal preference is nothing to do with who I'd rather play. It's to do with narrative. Liverpool lost their first final against Real Madrid. I think Liverpool will be out there. They'll be headhunting and they'll be going, all right, we want you. But if you get City, English versus English, it's a lot more unpredictable.
Who do you think you're more like to be totally frank, from a neutral, I think Liverpool are perfectly well equipped to beat either in a final.
Seen that. But Liverpool are actually the winningest side against Man City in terms of head-to-heads this season. Drawn 2, 1-1.
Who do you think you are more like? Who would you like to play in terms of who you're more likely to beat? Is Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid team more of a threat?
We have history with Carlo and we have history with Pep, and I think the point is it's a coin flip for both, especially when you've got Karim Benzema out there. But I personally think we will see City in the final because I think
2 all English finals in a row.
Yeah.
Wow.
And quite a few in a couple of years as well.
Oh, yeah. A magnificent night for Liverpool. Ultimately, a bit of a rocky 90 minutes, but you won the legs, home and away. Can't really do much more than that, can you?
And when we did turn it on, it showed, they turn it on. You know what I mean?
It was an intense game. It was also, if you're Real Madrid or Man City, you think even when they're bad, they win. It's a bit of a statement there.
It's a good statement for the Premier League run-in as well, where if you go down, and it's the first half, you go down, we scored a lot of goals in a very short space of time and then dominated the game for the rest of it as well. There is always hope as a Liverpool fan. But I will say this, I think Klopp will not be happy with that performance tonight because he will have said, you've shown other teams a blueprint of how to get above us there. And, you know, Konate and Van Dijk looked very off.
But it was conditions as well. I don't think you can read too much into it. It was the conditions, it was the intensity, and they pulled it out the bag.
Sure.
Like, Jurgen Klopp's tweaks at half-time, the personnel shift, the players that came on, everybody else elevating their performances. This Liverpool team are sensational. It wouldn't surprise us if this became, what, Liverpool's 7th? Is that what it would be? 7 European Cups. Unreal. Thank you so much for watching this video. What a night of European football it's been. Make sure you click subscribe. Head over to Mr. Lawrence McKenna's channel, and I will see you all on the next video. We're out.